Good morning and thank you so much for joining us on Africa This Morning. My name is Beryl Ooro. It is the 13th of March 2014. Let's start the bulletin with a look at the leading stories.
أنا لا أعتقد 100 سيارة.
Libya Prime Minister impeached. Libya's General National Congress passes a no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Ali Zaidan.
Going into the sixth day of the search of the missing Malaysian Airlines Boeing 777-200, families of Chinese passengers aboard the missing plane say they have reached an agreement with Malaysia Airlines over flight arrangements to Kuala Lumpur and their accommodation. Of the 237 people on board flight MH370 from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, two-thirds were Chinese, and China has urged Malaysia to step up the search efforts. The families held a closed-door meeting with the Malaysian ambassador to China and representatives from the airline at Lido Hotel near Beijing Airport on Wednesday morning. Chinese media said the Malaysian Airlines had agreed to the 5 demands made by the families to allow 5 relatives of each passenger to fly to Malaysia if there are plenty of seats, arrange business class for relatives who are fragile, provide free meals, not including the allowance of 31,000 yuan, approximately $5,047 in final compensation, and brief the families on the progress of the investigation 3 times a day. The reports did not say when the families will fly to Kuala Lumpur. A massive air and sea search, now in its 5th day, has failed to find any trace of Boeing 777-200, and the last 24 hours have seen conflicting statements and reports over what may have happened after it lost contact with air traffic controllers. Anger and anxiety bubbled among hundreds of family members waiting for news of their loved ones at Lido Hotel for days as the progress on the investigation was slow.
Now they need to stay calm. There will be arrangements for them once they find the plane. We don't want to stir their emotions. We try not to stir their feelings.
As more and more family members gathered at Lido Hotel, the airline has moved some of them to 2 other hotels in Beijing, according to local media. Libya's General National Congress has passed a no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Ali Zaidan and designated the Defense Minister as the acting Prime Minister. Parliamentarians voted to oust Zaidan as anger grew with the government's failure to stop Eastern rebels from independently exporting oil.
أنا لا أعتقد 100 سيارة.
The no-confidence motion was approved by 124 of the 194 members of the parliament for more than the majority required, MPs said. The vote on Tuesday came hours after an oil tanker carrying rebel oil escaped warships and left the country. Defense Minister Abdullah Al-Thini was named interim premier for the 2 weeks. The assembly now has to agree on a permanent replacement. Parliament will support Thini and not obstruct his work, its head Nuri Ali told the assembly during a session broadcast by state television after the caretaker prime minister took his oath. Libya's top prosecutor has placed a travel ban on Zaidan because of his suspected involvement in the embezzlement of public funds, according to a document published on his office's Facebook page. Previous attempts to bring down Zaidan has failed to win the required majority of 120 of the Assembly's 194 members. Zaidan's government had been repeatedly criticized for its failure to disarm militias which have carved out of their fiefdoms since the NATO-backed uprising that ended the 42-year rule of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The Prime Minister was himself briefly abducted by an armed group in the heart of the capital, Tripoli, last October. Rebels demanding a bigger share of oil revenue and political autonomy in the East seized 3 ports last summer and partly control a 4th. The central government had threatened armed action, even an airstrike, to prevent the North Korea-flagged tanker which docked in Al Sidra port on Saturday from getting away with its cargo. The vessel was reported to have taken on at least 234,000 barrels of crude. It was intercepted by the Navy on Monday, but managed to slip into international waters a day later. There were unconfirmed reports that the ship was on fire after being hit by a missile.
Learning has been paralyzed in public universities in Kenya after lecturers went on strike despite a court order obtained by the Federation of Employers. The lecturers are demanding more than 3.9 billion shillings that was agreed upon between them and the government in a 2012 collective bargaining agreement.
Lecturers went on strike even after their employers obtained a court order blocking the industrial action. At the center of the dispute is full payment of the second phase of the 7.8 billion shilling salary award that the lecturers negotiated in 2012. At the University of Nairobi main campus, lecture halls were empty. The University Academic Staff Union University of Nairobi chapter union leaders said they will not be intimidated and will return to work once their demands are met.
What we are saying is this, that the university's management, and we are talking about vice chancellors, they took the money and they are not party to that agreement. They took out of 7.8 billion, they took 3.8 billion and paid themselves. They have owned up, they have surrendered the money. They are saying, let's agree we share this 2.2 billion. 1.6 billion is still outstanding, but we are saying we want all our money. And we are saying this, the government is delaying in arresting these guys because this is a case of economic sabotage. This is a criminal nature, theft by a servant, abuse of office. How do you share yourself money that does not belong to you?
The situation was the same at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology main campus in Juja.
Earlier in February, the Ministry of Education had awarded the much-awaited Laptop for Schools tender to an Indian firm by the name Olive Telecommunications, which was to supply the machines at $286 million. Just yesterday, it was reported that the tender was cancelled by the Public Procurement Oversight Board over apparent violations on the part of Olive Telecommunications regarding the tender application requirements. The members of the Parliamentary Education Committee have called for the resignation of the Cabinet Secretary of Education. The tender will be re-advertised in the next 45 days.
The committee is still of the view that there is no irreparable damage to the image of the president and the government, whose noble initiative has been thwarted by irresponsible, reckless, and reckless mishandling of the entire process by the Cabinet Secretary. The committee had raised serious concerns with regards to the procurement process, both at the committee and even with the media. Yet the Cabinet Secretary, in his characteristic arrogance, went ahead without regard to the concerns that we had raised, went ahead and awarded the tender. The committee was then concerned that the company awarded the tender had questionable background, and the committee actually doubted its capacity to supply the huge number of devices. The committee also doubted if Olive was actually an original equipment manufacturer, as was the requirement in the tender document. The committee had also, on numerous occasions, demanded to be furnished with the due diligence report that was conducted on Olive Telecommunications PVT Limited, and the ministry blatantly refused to avail this information to the committee. In view of the foregoing, we as a committee intend to bring a motion of censure in Parliament against the Cabinet Secretary for, one, holding the committee in contempt, two, misleading or giving wrongful information to the committee with regards to the tender process, and three, withholding useful information from the committee with ulterior motives. In fact, it is in the view of this committee that the Cabinet Secretary
should have resigned as early as yesterday. We demand unequivocally as this committee that he resigns for having failed this country. Thank you very much.
I want to say that we are not opposed to the project. We are in full support of the project, but we want value for money. We want the process to go on according to the regulations, and the board did not say it has been stopped completely, but it is to be retendered within the next 45 days. So if the Ministry of Education is quick enough, they should put it in the advert so that no time is wasted. So, and we want to applaud the board because they concurred with our idea that we realized there was something amiss and we wanted that to be clarified. However, we didn't get that information.
Still on education, the USAID and the Department for International Development, DFID, yesterday came under fire from the Kenya Publishers Association Council over content and failure to follow protocol in publishing and distribution of school books.
This cover is already wrongly bound.
The publishing and distributing of books for public schools by USAID and DFID has been criticized, claims that no vetting process has been conducted as stipulated in the Constitution. Vice Chairman of the Kenya Publishers Association Council, Simon Sosion, expressed displeasure over how the whole process of procurement down to distribution was conducted with discretion.
These processes have not been put there for nothing. They are meant to achieve two functions. Function number one is to safeguard the integrity of the process, which is now in question. Number two is to guarantee the quality and acceptability of the final product, which is now in question.
Where have you been since you went?
The chairman of the association, Lawrence Njagi, said the absence of vetting of the books has led to the corruption of the content, which is meant for pupils from the lower primary in schools. The content, they said, was marred with content that corrupt cultural, moral and national values. The ministry has been urged to take responsibility to avoid breeding a generation brought up with poor moral values.
Why would somebody want to give you an expensive book like this for free? As the treasurer said, there is nothing in this world like free. It comes with strings attached. Can the minister tell us those strings?
We are ready to take full responsibility. Thank you.
Top universities from Turkey yesterday gave Kenyan students a chance to broaden their options as far as higher education is concerned. This was done at the University Education Fair at Light Academy Kindergarten in Nairobi.
The annual event is having its second round in Nairobi and has proven better than the previous one with a better turnout. 10 universities from Turkey that specialize in different courses were hosted. Here the students sought information and clarification from universities of their choice on what they want to specialize in after high school. Some of the students present at the event told Ebro Africa TV that they were glad to have such an opportunity to interact with the universities and added that they had interest in studying in Turkey.
I came out today because I'm interested in a few medicine courses, and I had these Turkish universities, they offer medicine courses, so it's been a good experience.
Tariq Unal, the director of Anatolia Consultant Education Company who hosted the event, said the increase in demand from Kenyan students to study in Turkey influenced their decision to hold the education fair.
Now that the exams are over, universities, the students have started looking for the opportunities all around the world, not only in Kenya but all around the world. So we are basically providing them an opportunity to interact with the universities in person and to explore what options are waiting for them there.
Top student in the 2013 national examinations, Tom Wanderi, was also present in the event in his search for a university that offered a course in petroleum engineering.
Personally, I want to pursue engineering in the field of petroleum, and Turkey is one of the chief petroleum exporters in the world. So studying in Turkey particularly will be a very great opportunity towards my career.
This event was timely as it came barely a month after the release of the 2013 Kenya National Examinations results.
Starehe Boys Center Principal Paul Mugo has been suspended. This comes amid complaints of poor performance by the school in last year's national examinations.
At a press briefing in his office today, the school's director, Matthew Kithiaka, confirmed that the principal had been sent away for some time. Together with him were the school's executive assistant to the director and the accounts officer, who have also been sent on compulsory leave.
I would not say why, but I would say we have staff from the accounts department and a staff in my office, the executive assistant. But again, as I said, these are decisions made by the managing committee, and they have a mandate to manage the school, in an appropriate way.
The director, however, denied claims that the suspensions came as a result of the school's dismal performance over the recent past.
There's always speculations pegged on any event anywhere in every institution, in every institution. And what I can say is that the managing committee has a way of managing and governance of the school, and it's able to make decisions on any matter at whatever time, depending on the need.
This comes amid rumors that the school's criteria for selecting students had changed. The center, which strictly enrolled needy but bright students, is now said to be enrolling students from well-off families, a claim that the principal also denied.
Representatives from the Chamber of Commerce and Industry from Kenya and Ethiopia on Tuesday signed a business MOU in Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, aimed at creating a more robust business environment. Kenya's president, who was leading the delegation, exuded confidence in the way sustainable economic growth will be achieved through such a collaboration.
Kenya and Ethiopia have from way back in history enjoyed cordial and mutual relationship with each other. This kind of understanding was now taken a notch higher during the signing of a business agreement in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The signing of the MOU was done in the presence of Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta and Ethiopia's Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn.
I also believe that this forum is of paramount importance in providing opportunities for business of both our countries to exchange ideas and experiences, as well as bottlenecks, to contributing to the promotion of trade and investment in both countries.
Leaders of Chamber of Commerce and Industry from Kenya and Ethiopia say the two countries should continue with all forms of business relations, disregarding any form of differences that might have arisen in the past. Kenya's president, who was leading the business delegation to Ethiopia, said all doors are open for any persons from Ethiopia and Kenya to do business within the country, and incentives will be given.
We come with a new government that believes that our focus and attention and the area where we have greatest potential to achieve prosperity for our nation and our people is by working in close harmony with our region, first and foremost, with our continent second, and with the rest of the world third, in that order.
The president was accompanied by some of the cabinet secretaries and members of government. He is on an official state visit to Ethiopia, which is his first to an African country since his inauguration. The cabinet secretary of foreign affairs said that this kind of relationships will continue from now onwards.
Growth, poverty reduction, and improving the lives of our people require a vibrant private sector. It has a key role to play in addressing our challenges. It supports inclusive growth, poverty reduction, job creation, access to critical goods and basic services, and it provides governments with tax revenues.
During the conference, a great encouragement was done as to have inter-African trade and build more business opportunities for Africa and for Africans.
The completion of the signing of Memorandum of Understanding between Ethiopia and Kenya will certainly see these two countries go great heights in terms of business and finance. Reporting for Ooro News Africa in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, I'm CJ Jr.
And with that story, we come to the end of the bulletin on Ooro Africa this morning. My name is Beryl. Join us shortly as we take a look at the leading stories on the social media platform in our segment on Trend.